Hello my sweet angel besties, welcome back. I feel like I haven't done a reading vlog in forever. It hasn't been that long, but it feels like a long time, so I'm very excited to just be spending the week reading with you guys, talking about books, yapping away. It's gonna be fun. However, we do have a goal this week, and that goal is to work on my physical TBR. If you guys watched my July TBR video, you would have seen that my TBR cart is getting a little bit too full for my liking. I'll bring it over for you guys. It is heavy right now. This cart is fuller than it has been in a long time, which is fun because there are so many options, but it's also a little bit overwhelming because there are so many options. We also have a few like stacked up behind here as well. Like it's full. So this week I'm just gonna be mood reading, and I can read anything as long as it's on this cart. So I don't know exactly which books I'm gonna get to, but I do know which book I'm gonna start with, and that is Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I am so excited about this one. I love Taylor Jenkins Reid. She's one of my favorite authors. I have read everything she's published thus far, and obviously this is no exception. This is a beautiful art copy. I got this like a couple days before it was released, but I didn't get to it before I went on my trip. So you best believe this is the first book I'm picking up since getting home. All I know about this book is that, firstly, it's written by TBR, so obviously I'm going to read it. 2, it's about astronauts and space and things like that. And 3, on the front here it says Atmosphere, a love story. So I know it's got some sort of romance in it. I don't know exactly what that means because knowing TJR, it's going to be, I don't know, a little bit more complicated, a little bit more layered. But either way, I'm excited to start this one and just get back into another TJR world because they are some of my favorite worlds to be in. I'm just getting ready to head out because I think I want to take my book and read at a coffee shop. But it is so cold today, it's so cold, so I need to make sure I bring a jacket with me. But before we do that, I need to put my jewelry on because I still haven't done that. And I recently got some new pieces from Jazz Handmade, which is so exciting. I've had a couple pieces from JHM for a while now, and I literally love them so much. And they are so kindly sponsoring this vlog, which again is very, very exciting. The first new piece I have is the Ava bangle in gold, and I love this. It's obviously very classic, very simple. And I just feel like with jewelry, I would rather invest in quality pieces that are gonna last me forever and are gonna be like timeless pieces rather than getting something that's gonna tarnish in a couple months. Then for earrings, I have 2 options. The bell earrings, they're like this teardrop shape, and I've had these for a really long time now, and they are some of my most worn earrings. But I also just got these ones. These are the Odette earrings, and they are obviously a lot chunkier. Ooh, do I want to wear these today? I personally love a chunky earring with like a slick hairstyle. Oh, I kind of like this with this outfit. I wasn't expecting that. What do we think? Or do I just go kind of more classic? I think I will go bell today, but I'm excited to have this kind of like more statement piece. I got these specifically so I could take them with me to Europe, because imagine me being in Greece, coming home from spending the day at the beach, having a shower, getting ready for dinner, putting on a cute dress, slick back hair, and chunky gold earrings. Like, oh my gosh, I can't wait. Like I said, I've had these earrings forever and I love them, and I've never had any sort of like sensitivity issues. My ears never hurt, they never go red. Also, you can wear them in the water and you don't have to worry about it, which again is perfect because I just forget that I'm wearing jewelry sometimes before hopping in the shower, before hopping in the pool, before going to the beach, whatever it may be. And lastly, we have rings. We have this one, which is called the Venice ring. It's just kind of like thicker at the front, thinner at the back. Again, a very classic, timeless piece. And this is the Amour ring, which has little heart details on it. And they also sent me the Muse ring set in gold. This is like a set of 3 rings, and they're all different shapes. Like some are thicker, some are thinner. Here's what they look like all together. That's kind of fun. I think I'm just gonna do maybe 2 today. But that is my little JOTD, jewelry of the day. So a huge thank you to Jazz Handmade for sponsoring this portion of the vlog. I am so thankful, and if you guys want to make an order as well, you can use the code LOVERACHEL for a discount. I'll have everything linked down below, the exact pieces that I showed, sizing, everything, in case you're curious. But yeah, it is time to head out to my favorite cafe that I haven't been to in so long and get a coffee and read my book. Okay, lighting is 3 out of 10, but it'll do. Let's talk about this book. Let me give you an update. I'm actually so much further through than I thought I would be giving you my first update, but obviously we started this book yesterday and I read, and honestly I didn't realize how far I was into it until I just went to give you guys an update, and I looked at the page number and I'm like, oh, I literally have 100 pages left. I mean, slightly more than that, but roughly 100 pages left. I'm at page 227. I read the first, I want to say like 160-ish, 170-ish pages yesterday, and then I woke up this morning, I read a little bit more, and then I went on my walk and listened to it a little bit. So now I'm at page 227, like 24 hours after starting it. But in this book, we are following Joan, who is an astrophysics professor, I think, when we meet her. She's working in university and she's not obsessed with her job, but she hears that NASA has opened up some interviews for potential astronaut candidates. And so she applies and she ends up getting in, and we're following her journey as she literally becomes an astronaut. It is absolutely fascinating. I've never read anything like this before, or like anything on this topic. I have read like some sci-fi books like Project Hail Mary, where you are following an astronaut in space on a mission, but like this is all about her like becoming an astronaut and like learning about how to fly shuttles and rockets, and like she has to get in planes with pilots, and like I don't know, it's just fascinating. But she's studying and training in this program that has, I think, 18 candidates altogether, full of different kind of specialists who have all come together to create this team. And you see the friendships and the relationships and things that she builds with the other members of that like crew. And it's so much more than just her like learning to become an astronaut. It's also just her learning so much more about herself and who she is and what she wants, and like her family dynamics, and it's just really, really good. I think one of my favorite things about Taylor Jenkins Reid's books, especially the last like 4 or 5 that she has released, is that she writes women so well, and she writes women specifically who have some sort of huge dream or goal, and they will do anything and everything to achieve it. And I love that. Like the books themselves are always completely different topics and subject matter, and the types of women that she writes about are completely different. Like if you look at the temperament of like Carrie Soto versus Joan Goodwin in this book, like they are completely different people. Like Carrie Soto was extremely assertive and strong, whereas Joan is a lot more meek and gentle, but they still both have this one thing in common, and that is that they love something more than life itself. Like they just have this passion of something. Like in Carrie Soto, it's tennis, and in this book, it's the stars and the sky and space. And just watching these women in these books, and again, it's different in every book, with Evelyn Hugo, Daisy Jones, Malibu Rising, like they're all very different women with different dreams, but they all have a dream. And it's just crazy because TJR writes all of these completely different subjects, but makes you care so deeply for whatever subject she's writing about. Like in Daisy Jones, I came to care so much about music and songwriting, and in Carrie Soto, I came to care so deeply about tennis, even though I've literally never played a game of tennis or watched a game of tennis in my life. But Taylor Jenkins Reid just has this ability to write in a way where you care as the reader so deeply about whatever subject she's writing about, simply because the main character cares about it so much, and you just feel like the characters are so real, and the issues and the things that they deal with are so real. And I also just love her characters because she writes very like flawed humans. Like they all have things about them and things about their character, their personality, that aren't necessarily perfect or like great. They all make mistakes, they all have problems, they all have to overcome things and learn things, but I think that just makes them feel very real. So I'm loving this so far. I don't know if it's like quite a 5-star for me, at least at this point. I'm loving it, but it hasn't quite got that like 5-star feeling yet, but it's like so close. Like right now, if I had to rate it, I'd give it a 4.5, like easy. Like it is an easy 4.5, but I don't know if it's quite a 5-star for me yet. But we'll see. I'm gonna go sit in this cafe, get a coffee, and continue reading this incredible book. I am so excited. I wouldn't be surprised if I finish this book today because it's just so good. I had such a nice time reading at the coffee shop, honestly. Like it was so nice, but I was getting so cold. The wind was just not fun today. So I'm home. I just got up to page 277, and oh my goodness, there is one character in this book, like a side character, that infuriates me, like infuriates me so bad. I can't even like explain how furious this character has got me. I didn't expect to be like so angry at like a side character, I guess, but I hate it. I hate the situation. Anyway, apart from that, I'm having a really great time. There's this one quote that I really liked, and I wanted to read it to you guys because I just thought it was really special. So one of the side characters is talking to a character that is a child, and the child is just not having the best time. And this character says, "Listen to me, kiddo. For some people, childhood is the best part of their lives, and later, all they are trying to do is go back to it. But for people like us, it's different. The good part hasn't started yet, but it's coming. It's just ahead. When your life is in your own hands, and listen to me, you are going to soar. And I just loved that. Anyway, this book is, 332 pages. I'm at page 277, so about 50 pages left. I'm nervous because you find out at the beginning of this book very quickly, like one of the first things you find out is something has gone wrong, and you're kind of flashing back and forth between two different timelines. And I know that we're gonna have to deal with that something wrong at some point, and I'm nervous for it. So yeah, I'm nervous. Freak. Oh, I didn't think I was gonna cry. What the freak? I don't like that. I don't like what they did there. Oh my gosh, what the freak? That was such a good book. It was so good. I'm kind of mad at it, but like, I'm not. What do you mean that's the end though? That does not feel like... What? I need to process this. Good morning, besties. It is now the next day, and I thought I would give you my final thoughts on Atmosphere. This was so good, and I didn't expect anything less from Taylor Jenkins Reid. Like, again, she's one of my favorite authors. I've read everything she's ever published, and I'm obsessed with her. I think we've waited 2 or 3 years to get a new book from her, and she did not disappoint. It was well worth the wait, honestly. I feel like I've already told you my main thoughts. I just love how Taylor Jenkins Reid writes a woman with a passion, a woman who has a dream, and a woman who can make that dream come true despite whatever stands in her way. I feel like that is the main takeaway that I took out of this book, but I'm sure everyone will have their own personal experience with it. But I just love that it was, yes, about this woman who was trying to make her dream come true by like going into space, but it was just so much more than that. It was about family and friendship and relationships and love and life and everything in between, and I just had such a fantastic time. I love the way TJR writes. I don't really know what it is about it, but I am so locked in every time I pick up one of her books. In terms of a final rating, I think I am going to give this 4.5 stars. I absolutely loved it, but it didn't quite get that like 5-star feeling from me. I think it's something that I will think about moving forward, but I don't think it's one of those books that's going to stay front and center in my brain, and that's kind of what my 5 stars are reserved for. So obviously I still recommend it 100 times over, and so many of my friends and my mutuals on social media have rated this 5 stars, and I just get it. I can see why. Also, if you haven't read anything by Taylor Jenkins Reid, first of all, what are you doing? Second of all, please pick up any book immediately, and third of all, you don't need to read any of her other books to be able to pick up this one and understand everything. Like, it's completely separate from anything that she's done previously, so I definitely recommend it. There's not much more I can say without spoiling anything, but I really enjoyed this. So a great read, and I'm so glad that I picked this up. And now it is time to move on to our next book. I've already decided which one I want to read next, and that is Out of the Woods by Hannah Bonham Young. This is on my July TBR. If you watched my TBR jar video that went up recently, you might have seen that I picked this from a taste test prompt, which meant that I read the first page of a few different books and picked my favorite, and this is the book that I picked because of that prompt, because it just felt quite unique to me. I love Hannah Bonham Young as an author. I have read, I think, all of her other books as well. Out on a Limb is my personal favorite, but this is kind of like a companion novel to Out on a Limb. In Out on a Limb, how many times can I say that? You meet Win and Bo, and in this book you are following Win's best friend Sarah and her husband Caleb, and Win and Sarah have been best friends forever, and they kind of grew up together. So we saw a lot of Sarah and Caleb in Win and Bo's book in Out on a Limb, but now we get to know Sarah and Caleb's story, and like I said, they're married. So this is like, I don't want to call it a second chance romance because I don't think there's like a breakup involved. I could be wrong. Obviously I haven't read it yet, so I don't know, but I think it's kind of about them refinding their love for one another whilst also finding themselves, because they got together when they were like 14 and they have been together ever since, and now they're in their 30s. So they have been together longer than they've ever been apart, and I think there's just some identity searching going on in this book, at least from what I've gathered just by like reading the first couple of pages. Last night I picked this up before I went to sleep, and I mean, I barely read anything. I read 32 pages of the first 2 chapters, but I'm already really interested and I'm so excited to continue reading their story. So far we're doing like a bit of a past and present timeline situation. So we're getting the past point of view where we get to see what Sarah and Caleb were like in their teenage years and dating and falling in love, which I love. I'm glad we get to like see them falling in love for the first time still. And then we have the present day where things are a little bit more complicated. So I'm very excited to finally be reading this. I've been meaning to pick it up ever since it was published, so I'm glad today's the day. Taking a reading break to get a snack, and this is my snack today. I'm like so excited, but I'm so sad. I brought 2 packs of goldfish home with me from the US, a bag of original and a bag of cheddar. Finished the original the first week. Fantastic. Love them so much. So sad it's gone. I've decided to open the cheddar today. I haven't tried this flavor before, but a lot of people suggested it when I asked like what is the best flavor. To be fair, when I asked which flavor of goldfish I needed to try, almost every person said a different flavor. Like there was no general consensus at all. There was no majority vote. Like literally everyone had something different to say, but I do think cheddar was a popular one. And it sounded good. I'm really nervous they're not going to be as good as the original, and then I'm going to be sad that I didn't buy just like 2 bags of original. It's good. It is good. Kind of tastes like Cheez-Its. I do really enjoy that. Do I enjoy original more? Maybe. Am I boring? Yeah. If anyone knows where I can get goldfish in Australia, please let me know. Like, please, I'm begging. I went for a walk earlier and I'm still in my puffer jacket because it's still kind of cold in this house. But anyway, I have a reading update. I'm a little over halfway through Out of the Woods now and I'm having a lot of fun. I really like that this is a romance book, but it feels unique because we're talking about so much more than a romance. We're really looking at Sarah as a person, as an individual, as a woman who just like wants to know herself better. And I'm really enjoying that. So basically, Sarah and Caleb have been married for over 10 years now. They got married really young, but they're just not super happy. Specifically Sarah. Sarah just feels like she's not really like doing anything. She doesn't feel like her life consists of much. She doesn't feel like she has a purpose. She doesn't really know who she is. And that's kind of also feeding into her relationship with Caleb and causing issues there because she's kind of like, I don't know who I am, so I also don't know who I am as a wife. And I also feel like I want to change. And he's kind of like, well, why do we need to change? We're happy. Like, it's just causing a lot of tension between them. So they decide to go on this like relationship, I was about to say retreat. It's not a retreat. It's like a camping trip, like a 1-week hike, I guess. But during this hike, they are also doing like communication exercises, and there's like almost like therapy kind of sessions, and they're encouraged to really talk out their issues and work on their relationship, I guess, but also work on themselves as individuals as well. And it's just, I don't know, it's just such a different approach to a romance book because obviously the couple is already together, but it's, I guess, like a marriage in turmoil sort of situation of like a, can we find a way back to each other, and also can we figure out who we are as individuals because we've been together for so long. And it's just really, really interesting. And I just thought I would share this quote because I really liked it. I thought it was just kind of refreshing. But our main character, Sarah, is 32 and she feels like she just like hasn't ever done anything with her life that she feels proud of. And one of the like therapist ladies says to her, "You have time, you're young." Van Gogh didn't attend art school until he'd failed at being a missionary at age 27. Harrison Ford was still a carpenter at 30. Julia Child released her first cookbook at 39. Vera Wang didn't design a single dress until she was 40. But I'm none of those people, I protest, my voice quiet. They weren't those people until they were. And if I'd wagered a guess, they probably felt lost at times, even after all of their accomplishments. Humans are typically just stumbling through this life, making mistakes and trying again. Anyone who says anything different is trying to sell something. I feel like it's just nice to hear something like that sometimes. Like, you don't have to have everything figured out by the time you're 30 or 40 or whatever it is in your head. I feel like everyone has these different expectations of themselves. It's just nice to read a a book about a woman who is 32 and feels like she hasn't figured it all out yet, and that is okay. Last night I finished Out of the Woods and I thought I would give you, I guess, my final thoughts on it. I had so much fun with this. I just really like the way that Hannah Bonham Young writes romances. I've enjoyed every single one that I've read by her, some more than others. I do still think Out on a Limb might be my favorite because that one was just so good, but all of them have just been such a fun time, and I feel like she creates a great balance in her books between romance and plot, or romance and character development, or romance and friendship. Like, she just knows how to balance all of the things very, very well. And like I have said multiple times whilst reading this, I just loved how unique this was. I feel like I just don't read many romance books about a couple who have been together for a long time already and are dealing with the issues that have come up in their marriage 10 years in. Like, I just feel like you don't get that very often. So I loved how unique it was. It just felt different to a lot of other romances that I've read, which felt very refreshing. And I think if you are married and have been married for a while, or maybe you've been dating someone for many, many years and you just want a romance that maybe is a little bit more relatable than people meeting and falling in love within a couple of months and going through that like honeymoon phase, I guess, maybe you should read this. I do still love reading about people just falling in love for the first time. There's just something so special about watching people fall in love. But if you just want something different, refreshing, but still obviously a romance book, I definitely recommend it. I also just feel like Hannah Bonham Young is funny. Like, some of the scenes in this book were just so funny. Like, it is, I don't know if I'd call it a rom-com. It definitely had some rom-com aspects to it, but I wouldn't say it's like a full-fledged rom-com. It's definitely more of a romance with some funny scenes and some funny elements. But you could just tell that our two main characters just love each other so much. But obviously love is not the only thing that you need in a successful relationship. You need to be able to communicate, you need to be able to grow together, you need to be able to change together, you need to be able to be on the same page together. And I feel like this book just encompassed all of those things so beautifully. So really, really enjoyed this, had a lot of fun with that. I'm gonna give it 4 stars, I think. It wasn't like an all-time favorite, but I just had such a great time. So I finished that last night, and this morning I decided to start the next book that I wanted to pick up, and I decided to pick up same time next summer. I was just in the mood for something, I don't know, quick. I was still in a romance mood apparently, so I decided to read this one. This is also on my monthly TBR, so not only on my physical TBR, but also on my monthly TBR, so it was like 2 birds, 1 stone, which is a horrible metaphor, but anyway, I'm reading this next, and I've already made a bit of a dent into it. I am at page 92, so I'm about a third of the way through, because I think this is just under 300 pages, which is gonna go by so fast, I think, especially because Annabelle Monaghan's writing is just the easiest writing ever to read. I don't know how to explain it, but this is I want to say my 4th book by this author, and I just love the way that she writes. She writes quite simply, but still manages to make an impact. The words themselves and the sentences themselves are not poetic, but she still manages to make it feel kind of magical. I don't know how to explain it, and I don't know how she does it, but I love her writing. I have 2 main hesitations going into this. The first one is that this is a romance book following a girl who is engaged, and her fiance are visiting like a holiday home that she spent like all of her summers at growing up. And while she is visiting this like beach house / holiday home, she runs into this guy that she dated when she was a teenager, and he was like her first love and her first heartbreak, and now they're kind of meeting again. Like, I don't know how many years later, maybe I think she said 13 years later, I want to say. So I think she's either like 29 or 30, and they had a bit of like a summer romance when they were like 16. So I'm not loving the fact that she has a fiance, but I am intrigued, and I'm trying to keep an open mind. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how she deals with that situation, because I haven't like come across anything that's like questionable as of yet. However, that's one thing that I'm just like, I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about that. And the second thing that I'm just a bit like, I'm intrigued to see how this goes is Annabelle Monaghan. She seems to have a few things in her books that seem to be the same every time. I feel like almost all, if not all of the women that are the main characters in her books always tend to be very like responsible, neat, clean, making good choices, making safe choices kind of women. And the men in her books almost always tend to be some sort of like artistic kind of guy, whether it's music or photography or acting or something like that. They tend to have some sort of like artistic kind of job or passion, and they tend to kind of like help the woman loosen up and have fun and enjoy life and make some like quote unquote bad choices, or just, you know, like step out of their comfort zone a little bit. And whilst I don't have anything against that combination, I think the fact that we've just seen that combination of that type of woman and that type of man in almost every single one of her books, I'm a bit like, can we do something different? So I feel like I felt like that when I was reading It's a Love Story. I just felt like I had kind of read the same book before by that author. It was almost like same thing, different font. Like it wasn't too similar, but it almost wasn't different enough for me to like really fall in love with it or like separate it in my mind from her other books. So I'm intrigued to see if I feel like that when I get further into this one, because we are definitely following similar sort of trajectories with these characters. But we'll see. I'll keep you guys updated. I still love her writing. I still love her storytelling. So I'm excited to read it either way. But I'm just a bit like, how are these things gonna go? I'm just about to walk into a hair appointment, but I have a few minutes. So let's do a little reading update. I am now over halfway through this book. I'm at page 183. So I have like just over 100 pages left, and I'm still really enjoying it. I'm having a lot of fun. I still am a bit wary about the fiance situation because we haven't like dealt with that yet. I'm also just a little bit confused because we have like 100 pages left and it does not feel like we're even close to being like towards the end. Like I feel like the romance has barely even begun. To be fair, we're following a then and now timeline. So we're following the then timeline when our main character Sam is a teenager and she goes to the beach house every summer and she's fallen in love with her neighbor Wyatt, and they just spend like every day together. It's so fun reading about teenagers falling in love during the summer. I don't know what it is about it, but there's just something like, it's like nostalgic, even though I didn't have like a summer romance or like a holiday romance or anything like that, but it just feels like I can just see it in my head. I don't know why. So the then timeline, like we definitely have the romance from the past and we've kind of fleshed that out. We know exactly what happened with this couple, how they fall in love, and then also why they kind of haven't spoken in a long time. So I feel like we've got that kind of sorted, you know, like the then timeline, I understand. But the now timeline, we have a lot to figure out, it feels like. I'm just hoping there's enough like time left in the book for it to be fleshed out enough, as well as to deal with the current fiance situation. I don't know, but I'm really enjoying this book. I don't know if it's feeling like a 5-star to me. I do just think this is like the perfect book if you need to get out of a slump, because the book itself is short. It's very interesting. There's like family secrets. It's got the summer vibes. I think it would be a great beach read. And also the chapters are really short. Some of the chapters are like 2 pages long. Some of them are a little bit longer, but it just feels like you're flying through it, which is really nice. And again, just great for if you're in a slump, or great if you just want like a quick beach read or something. I'm not doing myself any favors by reading this in the middle of winter here in Australia, but I still feel like I'm getting the summer vibes. So I'm gonna take this into my hair appointment with me. We'll see how much reading I get done. Sometimes I end up reading a decent amount, but sometimes I end up yapping way too much to my hairdresser and just like hanging out. So we'll see what happens today. I never know before I walk in, but I'll see you guys when I have some fresh hair and hopefully have some more reading done. Hair is done. I feel like me again. And I did do a bit of reading while I was at my appointment, so I only have a little bit left to go and I kind of want to sit down and finish it now. I'm up to page 230, so we only have like 55 pages left, and I think I'll be able to finish this really quickly because obviously the story has kind of hit its peak, I guess. We've got a lot going on, a lot to figure out, and I need to know what's gonna happen. Annabelle Monaghan tends to write quite like short books. Like all of her books are quite short and sweet, which is great in so many ways, but sometimes I wish they were a little longer because I feel like sometimes they can end a little bit too quickly. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen with this. I still feel like we've got a lot to resolve and not a lot of time to do that. So I don't know, we'll have to see how we go, but I'm gonna sit and finish this now. I finished Same Time Next Summer and that was so good. It's not my favorite by Annabelle Monaghan, but it was still an incredible read, an incredible summer read. I wish I could have read it on the beach. I think that would have just been the perfect vibe. But alas, we are in the middle of winter here in Australia and I still had a really great time. I know I said this earlier, but if you are in a reading slump, I think any of Annabelle Monaghan's books could be great to pick up. I think my official rating as of right now would be number 1, Summer Romance. I need to reread that one. I think that was my first one that I ever read by Annabelle Monaghan, and it is still my favorite. Second of all would be Nora Goes Off Script. Third of all would be this one, or do I put, I don't know, maybe this is on par with Nora Goes Off Script for me. I'm not sure. I think I rated Nora Goes Off Script 4.5, but I wasn't gonna rate this one 4.5. Now I'm not sure. I don't know, I'm gonna have to think about it for a little bit. But then I think my bottom one is It's a Love Story, which is kind of crazy. I still really enjoyed that one. I had a really great time reading that. Like, all of these are 4 stars and above, but I do think It's a Love Story might be my least favorite, which is kind of crazy now that I'm thinking about it. Anyway, I love this author. I love her books. They are fun. They are fast paced. They are beautifully written. I love her writing. She just makes you feel like you're in love. And I feel like that's the best thing a romance book can do. I'm thinking it's like a 4 or a 4.25. I'm not exactly sure yet. I need to sit on it for a little bit, but I thought we could quickly recap the books that we read in this video. The whole purpose of this reading vlog was to hopefully get through a few books on my physical TBR, and I feel like we did just that. We got through 3 books, which is a solid dent into the TBR card here. It's still pretty full. I'm still gonna keep going and keep trying to knock it down book by book, but we had 3 incredible reads. I recommend every single one of these ones. We started off with Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Honestly, all of these are like some of my favorite authors now that I'm thinking about it. But anyway, started off with Atmosphere, loved it, a 4.5 star read for me. Then we read Out of the Woods by Hannah Bonham Young, 4 stars. So much fun and such a unique and refreshing way to do a romance book in my opinion. And obviously we finished with Same Time Next Summer by Annabelle Monaghan, which was just another incredible read. I know I mentioned at the beginning that one of my main hesitations going into this was that the main character had a fiance but was going back to her beach house and kind of potentially exploring things with her first love, the boy that she fell in love with when she was 16. And I stand by that. That's just like not my favorite trope. I don't like it when someone is trying to fall in love or explore things with someone when they already have a partner. It doesn't matter how good or bad the current boyfriend is or current fiance is. It doesn't matter how much you can justify it. If you have a current partner, it's not my favorite. I still loved this book. I just didn't love that element, and I feel like that element really held me back from really diving into loving our main character with the other love interest, because in the back of my head the whole time I was just like, she has a fiance, she has a fiance, she has a fiance. And they were quite respectful. Like, I wouldn't say she cheated. There were a few situations where I was like, ooh, that is kind of towing the line. I don't think that's like the most appropriate thing to be doing if you have a fiance. But apart from that, this was a great book. And honestly, I didn't really mind the like repetitive situation. I know I mentioned that Annabelle Monaghan tends to write a similar type of guy and a similar type of girl in a lot of her books, but it really didn't bother me at all in this book. I thought it would, but it really didn't. But yeah, like I said, I recommend literally all of these books, and I'm so glad that we got to get 3 books off the physical TBR, and I had a great time doing it. But I hope you guys enjoyed spending the week reading with me. I had so much fun spending it with you. We are losing daylight. The sun is setting. I feel like we've got the golden hour lighting right now, which is great, but I need to finish this video now before the sun completely goes down. But I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video very soon. Goodbye.